Okay, let's set the scene. It's January 28th, 2026. Southwest Airlines drops its latest earnings report. And what happened next was just stunning. The market reacted, and I mean it reacted in a huge, immediate way. See, something inside that report had investors absolutely electrified, and it all kicked off with one incredible number.
The company stock shot up over 18.5% in a single day. Now, you have to understand, for a massive multi-billion-dollar company like a major airline, that kind of jump is almost unheard of. It was this loud, clear signal that Wall Street saw something truly revolutionary in the numbers Southwest had just put out.
So that's the big question, right? What in the world was in that report? What did Southwest tell everybody that convinced investors this airline was about to hit a massive financial liftoff? Well, to really get it, we've got to take a quick step back and remember the airline Southwest used to be.
You know, for decades, Southwest wasn't just another airline. It was an icon. It was built on this super simple, customer-friendly idea that made it completely different from everyone else. It was a model people didn't just use, they kind of loved it, and they would defend it like crazy.
I mean, the difference between Southwest and the other guys was night and day. While everyone else was hitting you with fees for assigned seats, charging for bags, and making fares super complicated, Southwest kept it simple. You pick your own seat, your bags fly free, and no crazy change fees. This wasn't just how they did business, it was their whole identity. But then, in 2025, they threw out the playbook.
In 2025, Southwest went for it. They launched what they called the most ambitious transformation in the company's entire history. And they did it all in one single whirlwind year. It was a massive, high-stakes gamble to completely reinvent the airline from the ground up. And don't just take my word for it. Their own CEO, Bob Jordan, who's been in the industry for 38 years, basically said he'd never seen anything like it. He couldn't think of another airline that tried to make so many fundamental changes in such a short amount of time. So yeah, this wasn't just a little tweak, this was a revolution.
And the sheer scale of it is just, wow. Look at this list. They brought in assigned seating and bag fees. They introduced basic economy fares. They totally revamped their loyalty program, started selling tickets on sites like Expedia for the first time, added red-eye flights, and even found ways to get their planes back in the air faster. It was a top-to-bottom reinvention.
So you gotta ask, why? Why do all this? Why risk taking off a super loyal customer base? Well, the answer, as investors figured out real quick, was a potentially massive payoff. This huge gamble came with an absolutely explosive financial forecast that pointed to a crazy increase in profit.
Okay, before we get to the jaw-dropping number, let's do a real quick primer on a key term, EPS. It stands for earnings per share. Just think of it as a company's total profit boiled down to a per-share number. All you need to know is, a higher EPS means a more profitable company, and that's exactly what investors love to see.
And here it is. This is the number that sent the stock through the roof. In 2025, Southwest's adjusted EPS was 93 cents. But for 2026, after all these changes, they projected an EPS of at least $4. That's more than a 300% jump. This wasn't just growth, it was a quantum leap in how much money they expected to make.
And that optimism was everywhere in their forecast. Take unit revenues. That's basically how much money they make for every seat they fly. They expected that to jump by at least 9.5% in the first quarter alone. And get this, they're planning on doing all that while only growing their total number of flights by about 2 to 3%. The takeaway? They're going to make way more money with pretty much the same number of planes. Oh, and here's the kicker. The company straight up said that this at least $4 forecast, that was actually on the low end of their own internal projections. They think there's even more money to be made that they haven't even put in the forecast yet, especially as people get used to buying things like extra legroom on last-minute business trips.
So what does this all mean for the airline, and for us, the people who fly on it? Well, this wasn't just about the money. Southwest is framing this whole transformation as a huge strategic move to catch up with what the modern traveler actually wants. CEO Bob Jordan was super clear about this. He said this is all about chasing the customer and giving them what they want today, which, let's be honest, is different from what we wanted 5 or 10 years ago. It's about giving people choices, from a no-frills cheap ticket all the way up to a more premium experience.
But what's really amazing and kind of blows my mind is that they managed to pull all of this off without their service falling apart. In the very same year, they were turning the whole company upside down. The Wall Street Journal named Southwest the #1 U.S. airline of 2025 for its performance.
They managed to change everything while at the same time being the best in the business.
Which brings us to the final question here. For years, people have said that every time Southwest changed, it was losing a piece of its unique identity. But the company says, hey, our soul was never about open seating or free bags. It's always been about our people and our service. So, the big question is, by becoming more like every other airline, has Southwest finally lost its soul? Or has it just made a brilliant and necessary pivot to lock in its future and deliver incredible value for years to come?